Good evening, folks, and welcome to our Wednesday night weekly update here at First Presbyterian. We are glad to have you guys joining us this evening. I hope your week has been going well for you. It's been a beautiful week up to this point, a little cooler today, but it's supposed to start warming up again after this. So looking forward to another glorious weekend ahead of us. What a great week it was. Last Sunday, we were able to finally, after 60 weeks, have people back in the sanctuary for worship. Personally, it was a very emotional experience for me, and I hope those of you who came really appreciated being together in community. My apologies for those of you who are still online watching the service. We did have a technical hitch on Sunday morning. We're not quite sure what caused that, and hopefully it won't happen again, but because we didn't know what caused it, who knows? I think it was the first technical hitch we'd had since probably a year ago, April, when we first went online. Things have been running really smoothly on Sunday mornings, and I just felt terrible that the first Sunday we had people back, that those of you who are watching online got a little hard done by with the way the service worked out in that respect. So hopefully that won't happen again. And again, if you are watching online and you don't feel comfortable coming back to worship with us yet, that's fine. We really hope to be able to create something that is somewhat of a hybrid for now. I fully understand and appreciate if you're concerned about, your family and then there not being childcare, or perhaps you're concerned about your own health, or you're concerned about potentially giving COVID to somebody still. We absolutely appreciate and understand that. There's no pressure on anybody to return to worship, but it sure was nice to see some folks Sunday morning. Hey, Len, good evening to you. Good to see you with us tonight. And Kim, glad that you've got in safely from Pennsylvania and Uncle Len picked you up at the airport. So obviously that went well. Good evening, Jenny. I look forward to seeing you in a few minutes here after we wrap up here and I get done. Hope Running Club went well for you today. Kathy, good evening to you and Rich. Had a nice conversation with Rich in the parking lot earlier today. Got caught up with him a little as he was leaving the church after getting some of his treasurer duties taken care of. Peggy, a very good evening to you. It was good to see you on Sunday as well. I'm glad you were able to join us. Look forward to hopefully seeing Don again before too long. Let's see. Art, it's good to have you with us tonight too. I hope all's going well for you as well. I just hope that this week is going smoothly for you. Shara, good evening and welcome to you. It was good to see you earlier today, and thanks for taking on Children's Time this past Sunday. I know folks really appreciated having our first Children's Time in over a year, so appreciate you stepping up for that. Just a couple of quick announcements for you. One, we have Kelly Johnson's Project Joy. Can't read it backwards, can I? Cultivating, celebrating, and instigating joy in difficult times. Kelly's going to be doing this by Zoom with us. Saturday, May 15th. It's a 2.5-hour piece from 9 to 11:30. So whether you are here in the Twin Cities or anywhere else, you could join Kelly as she will include a time of teaching, group activities, and small group interaction that will give us tangible tools to discover and grow in our capacity to experience joy during difficult times. Choosing to cultivate, celebrate, and instigate joy in the midst of all that is broken in our world is a defiant act of worship. So that's an event for the ladies of the church coming up May 15th. Day after that, May 16th, will be the annual meeting of the congregation. Session is called an annual meeting of the congregation for May 16th for the purpose of electing officers. We will also get an update on our financial status. We don't have to approve my terms of call at this one because we did that back in December. And then following the annual meeting of the congregation, we will have the First Presbyterian Church Foundation will be having their annual meeting as well. We have added a few extra components to the prayer components to the prayer chain. We don't really add components to the prayer chain. Why did I say components? What's wrong with me? Don't answer that. You don't need to put in the comments what's wrong with me. I hear all the time from my family what's wrong with me. There are a few. There are a few pieces here for the prayer chain, though. Andy Brostrom is requesting prayers for his sister Jean, who is recovering from recent surgery in her fight against cancer. Also, Bill Furman, we've been praying for him. He actually fell now too and broke a vertebrae. So he's now in Serenity for healing. His chemotherapy and cancer treatment plan is now put on hold until he's stronger. So definitely want to keep Bill in prayer at this time. And then Bill Cleary, Sue Hunt's youngest brother, was recently discovered spots on his liver. We haven't heard yet whether those are cancerous or benign at this point. So we want to keep Bill in prayer as well. Same with Audrey Eichhoff as she's dealing with shingles and asking for prayers to help with pain and discomfort. So, those are some of the newer items that we have on our prayer chain. Continue to pray for those. Continue to pray for our congregational members who are battling cancer. And also, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental health is a part of our overall healthcare piece. So, let's really focus this month on our own mental health, taking care of ourselves, and making sure that we don't stigmatize mental health in any way, shape, or form. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, what have I been thinking about this week? I've been thinking about what it means for us to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. That's what Paul talks about in Romans 12, verse 2. And so just here's some of my thoughts on that.
The Apostle Paul tells us in his letter to the Romans, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is such an important thought. As Christians, we're to break free from the patterns of this world. We're to see and to live in the world differently than those who are not Christians. And the way we are able to do that is by taking the time needed to change our minds and become new people. It was the physicist and philosopher Thomas Kuhn who gave us the term paradigm shift. While originally intended to be used in the natural sciences, it very quickly made its way into all areas of knowledge. And a paradigm shift is, at its core, a profound shift in the way we see things, in the way we view the world. If the church wants to be effective in reaching the world with God's grace, I believe it needs to embrace a paradigm shift. The church needs to reject the patterns of the world. The church needs to embrace a new paradigm that is formed for us by Scripture. As God's people, we have to not only start seeing things differently than the world does, but we have to speak of them differently as well. The world loves to use the language of conservative and liberal. The church has tragically embraced that language too. We talk about conservative and liberal theology. And that's the pattern of this world. It's not a helpful descriptor for theology, because theology reflects right belief or wrong belief. Theology is either orthodox or it's unorthodox. But by buying into the pattern of this world, the church has allowed itself to be divided along false lines of division. As those who buy into a conservative model reject orthodox theology because it is perceived as being too liberal. And those who buy into a liberal model will often reject orthodox theology because it is perceived as being too conservative. This bifurcation also sees conservatives and liberals accepting unorthodox theology because it fits their worldview. These folks have not been transformed by the renewing of their mind. They have rather chosen to use Christianity to support and defend the pattern of the world that they like best. You see, I believe it is critical for the church to reject the categories of conservative and liberal, along with the labels of left and right that is often associated with them. Our objective as Christians is to see the world as God does, to renew our minds, to shift our focus, to see things in a new way, because something is either orthodox or unorthodox. These are the categories of the church, and they don't fit well with the patterns of the world. The gospel just doesn't play well when it comes to the ways of the world. The church is an international body. At its best, it should be far more controversial than the United Nations or the World Health Organization or any other international group. It's a huge paradigm shift from seeing ourselves as citizens of an earthly nation as being our closest connection, to learning to see ourselves as the global Christian community, as our new family, as our brothers and sisters, all of us adopted children of God from around the world. That idea alone upends so much that I can't even begin to address it in this segment today. To be the church, to be God's people, involves transformation by the renewing of your mind. Folks, let's not buy into the patterns of this world.
Gosh, I mean, how often do we actually end up buying into the patterns of this world and letting the world dictate to us, right? But that's not something we can afford to do as followers of Jesus Christ. Folks, I hope you guys really enjoy the rest of this week. We got a few great days ahead of us. We'll be back together in person for worship Sunday morning, still socially distanced. Perhaps if you didn't come last Sunday, you might feel more comfortable coming this week, having seen it online. If you were here this week, we would love to see you again this coming Sunday. If you're staying online, though, we really do hope you continue to feel connected with our congregation. So until we see you again soon, take care, God bless, and see you next week.